Air conditioning. We have air conditioning now. We have bathrooms. All the, all the luxuries are here now. But this is it. What we got? You guys got any questions?
Kept the small cage.
What's that?
You kept the small cage.
Yeah.
Was that a conscious decision or not? Like,
yeah,
you could put a 30 in here, I imagine.
Yeah, but with the smaller cage, you fit more seating, and fights are a little more exciting with the smaller cage.
Everything really was kind of custom built for the room. So even the height of the octagon is at a height that we don't typically have it at. If you remember Ultimate Fighter, it was down a couple feet for pay-per-view. It's up another 6-8 inches. So we really tried to get the proximity of the room and the height of the octagon and the spacing perfect for what we were given here.
What was your best and worst memory of the old gym? Because in that sizzle reel or whatever,
yeah,
you could see like you kind of had like some emotions, some thoughts went through your head.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I had any bad. It was part of the evolution. It was part of the growth of the sport. If you look back in hindsight, I wish in 7, 8, or 9, 2007, 8, or 9, when the economy crashed, I wish we bought a big piece of property and built something then, but we didn't. And everything's about timing. Right now is the time and the place, and with us going digital, with the initiative that we have right now with UFC Fight Pass, now was the time for this. This was the perfect time.
You still have a soft spot for Sahara, or are you now?
No, I'm over it. I had a hard time. I had a hard time leaving Sahara in the beginning, and the wholesale and everything fucked me up for a minute. But yeah, I'm over it.
Where will the commentators be seen?
They're back house. So for Contender, if you remember the past 2 seasons, we have not had commentators cage side, and we won't this season as well. They'll be back house. There's a location back there.
Are you guys planning to doing Contender for another countries? Like Brazil?
Or what?
Contender will keep happening in other languages?
Oh yeah. Yeah, listen, I want to do Brazil again. There's so much talent in Brazil. It's a no-brainer to continue doing there. We just got to figure out where it will air and stuff like that.
Craig, can you give us an idea of the kind of tech that's in here? I mean, I'm just looking up at the lighting rigs and stuff. It's way different than what was in the old gym. I mean, what's in here? What kind of technology are we talking about? What kind of investment did you have to make here?
Well, the first difference is we own everything in here now.
Yeah.
We didn't in the old place. But go ahead, you want.
Yeah, I mean, we were just limited in the old place. Just the actual structure of the building. That wasn't supposed to be a place where we're putting on fights, right? It was a warehouse that we just expanded upon. So here we had the luxury of being able to put in massive support beams on both sides. We have about 75,000 pounds of rigging that's up there right now, with the ability to add another probably 75,000 pounds. So a huge capacity of weight load on the building. This camera right here, this JITA, is only typically used on pay-per-views. We actually brought it into this facility. It's a custom-made JITA, which is an acronym for Jib in the Air, for this specific location. So we never, at the old gym, we had a jib on the floor, kind of traditional. This is a state-of-the-art rig that's custom-built for this space. All of the light fixtures are all LED fixtures. They're not the old technology. So, I mean, everything really is kind of state-of-the-art modern production technology.
And as we tour you around after this, this place was built and designed for fighting. Literally every room was thought out, every square inch of this place was built and designed for fighting.
It's funny because, you say that, but then I've also seen the interviews that say, well, man, we'll do comedy here, we'll do music here, we'll do shows here. Why was that the thought process? Because, I mean, this is a fight company, right?
Well, what happened was, as we started to move forward with this thing, his phone started blowing up with people going, what is this place? What can you do? What can we do? If you had, I don't know if you want to use any names or people that were calling you, but
the crew that worked on this building, some of the lighting directors from LA work on other shows. So there's other shows like BattleBots that said, wait, this is kind of a perfect facility for us. Then we had some guys from AEG come and tour the building a couple weeks ago. They said, well, if you just do an end stage over there by that big X, you could put in comedy acts, you could do musical acts, and it just started getting initially that was not the intention to make it a multi-purpose facility. It was all about fights, as Dana said. It just happened to be kind of stumbled upon an opportunity in Vegas that's pretty unique, especially once the control room comes online.
Yeah.
It's really not a facility like this around here.
So I'm curious.
Even in LA, there's only like 2 or something.
And
like
they're
that?
connected to networks, and they use them all the time. So
Like
even for
they're
LA,
slammed busy in LA. So now these, ATP Tennis is hitting us up saying, you know what? Maybe we'll come out to Vegas and use your facility.
So when you do things like that, I mean, would this be a facility that the public would enter, or would it just be closed production?
no, we definitely can
Both.
open this up to
Like ticket sellers and
Yeah.
or ticket buyers?
I mean, tonight won't be, but
Right.
we absolutely can convert it to a public arena.
Plus, this place works for a lot of the stuff that we're talking about doing on Fight Pass. Fight Pass was top of mind in building this place.
I'm curious because it makes sense. Like, I mean, all the organizations that are on Fight Pass could come here and hold an event, super easy, right? Turnkey operation.
Yep.
Would you just leave it up to third-party organizations, or do you see
We've talked
you
about
launching
that
like
too. No, we've talked about
kind of
that.
your own type, smaller type brands or whatever?
No. Third parties coming here
Yeah,
instead
yeah.
of doing it in their venues. Yeah.
Okay, not like the UFC wouldn't launch some kind of new minor league or third
No.
party or something like that.
No.
Yeah.
Talking
No,
about
but
going.
we'll hold boxing events here. Think about this, right? And this is just, say I have a fighter. You got a bunch of fighters that are up and coming guys from Russia. We could put on a fight here, prime time in Russia, then turn this thing around again and do a boxing match 3 hours later. You could do we can do anything here. Anything.
So when you say, because that's the quote that everybody's holding over your head, right? Is I'm going to show you guys the future of fighting. Why is this? I mean, it's obviously a beautiful facility with tech and amazing.
There's never been a place that was built and designed for fighting. I mean, we can go to the nicest arenas in the world, the O2 in London. You can go to MSG, which they just redid the whole place. You can go right down the street here to T-Mobile. None of them were designed for fighting. This place is built and designed for fighting. These young guys that come in tonight and throughout the rest of the Contender series, they'll never fight in a nicer venue, one that's actually laid out for fighting and thought of and designed for fighting. And you'll see the warm-up rooms, the bathrooms, the showers, the extra warm-up space if we have bigger fights. Cut men. I mean, there's a cut men room with, usually we're in a room that they give us, and the cut man brings whatever's in his bag. This place will be stocked with everything that they need. And the list goes on and on.
Sir, at the old facility, they used to walk out in silence, just like on Ultimate Fighter. Since this is a fight venue, will we get music?
No,
still
silence.
music?
It'll be exactly the same. I love the style of the show right now, the way that it is. And like Craig said, you don't hear the commentators, none of that stuff. It's perfect the way that it is right now.
Are you ever going to open up the Contenders to be available to be viewed by the public? And if not that, are you going to have other UFC events?
Well, it is. People can come to these fights. People can come to these fights, and this place can hold 1,500 people. So we could make it bigger. Right now, family and friends are coming to the fights. But people can come to the fights.
So people can buy tickets and come to
No,
Contenders?
we're not even selling tickets
When did that start?
today. 5 o'clock.
So people.
Hopefully, a bunch of people don't show up because we've got this thing set up for 1,500. But yeah, I've never said that the public couldn't come see it. And I think, the last season of the Contender series, the thing was so popular and successful that people used to show up all the time to come, and I used to say, let them in. Let them in.
What's your feeling right now ahead of this? Because obviously this is the debut, right? There's bound to be hiccups, problems, issues. You can't work out everything, right? When you open a big facility
we had
like
a fight
this.
fallout yesterday, but other than that, there's not going to be any hiccups on this shit. It's going to go perfect. There's always a couple of production issues that I noticed, but you wouldn't. I'm sure that's going to happen, but I don't know. This show's raw, man. This show is raw and easy. These guys are going to when we walk you through and show you how this is laid out. If you're a young fighter and you make it to the Contender series, the fucking experience that you're going to get here is going to be insane.
How does this change the way you're going to film the Contenders? The way the setup is?
Just in terms of actual fight action.
Well, not fight action, but like the lead up, are you going to have more behind the scenes, backstage kind of things? It seems like
No, I think when we got into the first season of the Contender, Dana was pretty clear with his vision, and we have to, and we constantly remind our crew that these guys are not in the UFC yet. So we actually have to pull back kind of what our producers and directors want to do, because especially in a building like this, we could send this thing look like a spaceship if we really wanted to do it. But they're not there yet, so that's why they don't get music and walk out. So it's a bit of a raw, as Dana mentioned, raw experience. So you're going to see 10% of what the capability of the building is. But if we ever do a fight night in here, we'll let it loose.
Will there be
the show's so raw, it's tough to fuck it up. You know what I mean? It's when you start doing stuff like you were saying, you got the music with the lights that go with, and all the stuff, or we have Sinead O'Connor live dropping down off the you know what I mean, all that shit. That's when it takes a lot of work and time and effort and planning and practicing. This show is tough to fuck up.
So when will the first UFC fight night be here?
That I don't know. That's a good question. We're looking more at, so we hired a guy from ESPN who's coming in and running the network now. So we're relaunching UFC Fight Pass in the fall. And I think that you guys, the fans, everybody's going to be blown away by what's going to happen on Fight Pass.
Can you give us a little tidbit?
It's just a lot of original programming, ton of fighting, lots of different styles of fighting. I'm going to start bidding on some of these big boxing matches. I'm working with a lot of different, pretty much every guy who you've ever heard of in the fight business I have talked to, or the guy who's running Fight Pass has talked to, and it's been very positive. Everybody wants to be a part of this. Everybody wants to work together, and if it's done right, there's enough money for everybody. Everybody's going to make money. It's like I was talking yesterday to the guys about, you got Ruiz, you got Fury, you got Anthony, you got Joshua, and Deontay Wilder. You got 4 guys that are really fun right now, exciting, and that you would love to see fight. Now, if these guys all start fighting each other, that thing could play out for over 2 years. And they're big fights, they're massive fights that not only the UK would care about, but the United States would care about, and people in Canada and Australia and around the world. These fights are fucking huge. And they need to be done right now while these guys are in their prime, And I don't know. We'll see if I can pull this shit together and make these kind of things happen. But that's my goal.
How's your reception been into the boxing world?
Amazing. Yeah, it's been amazing.
They've had
these guys
open
have
arms?
been way more receptive than I thought they would be, which is cool.
What's the trick to breaking those boundaries, those barriers, and to make those fights happen?
I don't know. I don't know yet because I haven't really dove in yet. I've just talked. We've had talks, and the talks have been phenomenal. So we'll see.
Dana, when you first came up with the idea of Zuffa boxing, it was more around Mayweather-McGregor at the time. Do you think now is even better timing because those fights are there to be made and they're not being made?
Well, the timing right now is the best it's been in a long time for the heavyweight division. Heavyweight division's fun, and according to Kevin Iole, there's a lot more heavyweights than that. And if that's true, that's very interesting. So,
what do you do about all the belts?
It's a great question. I don't know the answer to that either yet.
Could you?
I don't know. But listen, if you, I don't care if you're one of the promoters or one of the fighters or sanctioning body. When you put on the right fights and you do things the right way, everybody's going to make money. Everybody's going to make money. The fighters are going to make money. The sanctioning bodies are going to make money. The promoters are going to make money. There's enough money out there for everybody. The boxing has just been so fucking greedy and held it all here. And if I got the guy who's the heavyweight champion, or if I've got the guy who's in the popular division, whoever the popular guy is, I'm going to handpick these fights and fight these guys, and then they never fight the guys that you want to see them fight. And it defeats the purpose. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, all 4 of these guys should be fighting each other right now.
I mean, part of the culture that you're fighting with that is to get people to understand that it's okay to take a loss, right?
Yeah.
That a loss doesn't cripple the guys start.
Listen, with these 4 heavyweights, you have them all start doing round robins, right? the two winners end up fighting each other, the two losers fight each other again, and when you put on a fight, you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. The fight has to play out so you know what happens. And I'll give you an example. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, fight was fucking awesome. Immediate rematch. That should have been a fucking immediate rematch. That fight should have happened already, you know? Or should be coming up. They shouldn't have fought anybody else till they fought each other, unless Joshua came out and said, I want to fight you or you. And let's say Joshua came out and said, I want Tyson Fury, right? Those two fought to a draw. He could fight Fury and then fight Wilder next. Or if Fury wins, then he fights Wilder again in the rematch. You know? I know it's easy to say that with me sitting up here not being involved in it at all, but at the end of the day, that should be everybody's goal, is to make that happen. That thing would play out over a couple of years and would be fucking massive. And everybody would watch it and everybody would go to it.
If you were to end up to fix that problem with boxing, it sounds like it's a complicated problem that would require time. How much would it pull away from what you do with you at the UFC?
I got a plan for that. So hopefully, if everything goes the way that I'm planning right now, I will unveil this whole boxing side this fall to you guys.
Sure. When do you think you would do the first event?
What's that?
When do you think you'll do the first event?
I don't know. And I don't even know what my involvement in the first event would be. Would it be we're HBO and we're paying for the rights for the fight? Are we promoting? I don't know. I don't know that yet. I'm still working on all that stuff.
Do you think the issue with boxing is just the greed of the promoters? They saw the success of Mayweather, Pacquiao, you can stretch the public on for so long, and that's really the biggest issue, is that people have seen you can fool the public enough to get more money when they should just take what's on the...
Yeah, but I think that's all ending. I don't think that, you know, if you look at the way that it was in the 80s and the 90s and even early 2000s, you had two guys that were doing that. You had Floyd and Manny, De La Hoya, and maybe a couple other guys. But boxing as a whole, you're talking about tons of fighters that didn't make money and weren't in big fights. You know, I just think that the sport could be so much more. I mean, if you look at what we've built over the last 20 years in our events and how many events we're doing 42 events a year, right? And every time you go to one of our events, they're either sold out, or this year we're going to break the record for ticket sales ever in UFC history. More tickets being sold this year than ever in the history of the company. And, you know, we continue to put on these fights. People come and see them. You know, they're on live TV free. They're on ESPN, which everybody has, right? And we're still doing $1 million gates on these things without huge, without the Mayweathers and the, those type of fights. You can build a business with boxing, build a real business. You just gotta fucking break it and rebuild it, you know what I mean? Because the model is fucking broken.
Is your approach to go to the fighters and their teams directly, or to go to the sanctioning bodies and the promoters putting on the fights through boxing?
Well, you have to go to the promoters. You can't just go to the fighters. I think that was the problem with me and Eddie Hearn at first. I wasn't trying to steal Anthony Joshua from him when I was talking about Anthony. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing yet, you know what I mean? So I couldn't possibly do that. But I reached out to Anthony Joshua and talked to him on the phone, and he was completely, we just talked. I just said, listen, I'm fan, think you're great, would love to meet you sometime, whatever. And I think Eddie Hearn took that as a I'm trying to steal Anthony Joshua from him, which wasn't the case. And even Anthony Joshua said, Eddie Hearn is my man, What I'd like to do is work with all these guys, all the promoters. So after the thing with Eddie Hearn, I started, we started contacting all these promoters and talking to them and seeing if we could work out, some type of partnership or something to fix all this shit.
Would you allow your UFC fighters to box?
Huh?
Would you allow your UFC fighters to go to boxing on television?
I don't love it. Somebody asked me yesterday, you want to do another Mayweather type McGregor fight? No, I don't. No. Listen, we saw it. Boxing is boxing and MMA is MMA.
I just have a question on your thoughts of what you think about, some big boxing fights not getting made because of the percentage split. And, for example, I spoke to Errol Spence. He wants 60-40 to fight Terrence Crawford, but, Terrence's side, they want 60-40. So what are your thoughts kind of on this?
Yeah, I think that's a broken, shitty process too that's happened in boxing for a long time. There are A sides and B sides. I mean, it is a fact. I mean, anybody fighting Conor McGregor is the B side. Conor's the guy that's going to drive the most money. But again, people need to be rational and realize when you put on the big fight, and if it's a big enough fight, and you're both that important, and you're both that big, like McGregor and Mayweather, right? Two biggest fights ever were Mayweather-McGregor and Mayweather-Pacquiao, right? Because both guys on each side were big, and you have to get in a room and figure that shit out. We did. Me and Heyman got in a room. We figured out the Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather. You want to talk about two massive egos? You know what I mean? On who's the A side and who's the B side? It doesn't get any bigger than that, and it doesn't get any harder than that. But we did it. We got it done. So it can be done.
You speak about
Not
talking
long at all. It took days. I mean, that thing moved so fast. Once I got together with Heyman, it was impressive how fast it moved.
Are you planning on working with Bob Arum? I know you guys have had some issues in the past as well. But
Yeah, I haven't talked to him.
Yeah.
I will say I have talked to his people though. I've talked to his people.
Is there a way
I don't
to
think there's going to be a day when me and Bob are hanging around shooting the shit.
Yeah.
So, but we'll figure it out with other people.
Back to the Contender series. You once said you could do this 52 weeks of the year. If you're going to do 10, and it takes forever until we get back.
I'm saying I could do this every Tuesday for the rest of my life. Right. I love this show. I love everything about it. But it's about having enough talent, a big enough talent pool to run the show that much. If you wait, you do a couple of seasons. Yeah, this is part. You do a couple seasons, and then you wait till the next year, and you start again. You let enough talent build up. Some of these kids get 3 fights a year, 4 fights a year in these smaller organizations. So, yeah.
Have you decided if you're going to do a second season this year? I know the initial rollout was kind of out in the air.
Yeah, well, the matchmakers, turn into big babies, and there's not enough. So I just got to push them a little harder, and I think we will get 2 seasons this year. Yeah.
You mentioned the production studios in LA and how this is going to be a lot easier from your super center, if you will. So just a question, when let's say you're putting on fights from Dagestan or other markets, does that mean you guys are going to be able to have your own commentary teams to kind of help repackage that production for your Fight Pass audience here?
We certainly have the opportunity to do it. So we could keep, you'll see in the control room, there's space where we're going to have Spanish language, Portuguese language, commentary here. We could also have English language here. So we could localize all the content out of here and then send it to the appropriate territory, or we could send talent to the events.
The answer is, with this building, there isn't anything we can't do in this building. We can do anything.
You mentioned when you were talking about the room where you watch the fights that you would have the ability to go live. Are you referring to kind of just like those cage side talks you have with Joe, or could we see more Dana White on live day?
Yeah, so, no matter who our partner is, whether it was Fox or it's ESPN, as soon as the show's over, they want me to go there first and go, so I can do it right here if I'm not at the event. Now, before this, anything I wanted to do on ESPN, I had to go to Cover Edge here in town to do it. Everything can be done here, and we can go live. We can do the pre-fight show from here. We can do the post-fight show from here. I can just go live from here. We can do anything.
How much extra time does that give you then? Because obviously a lot of your time is traveling from place to place.
Yeah, I thought the room next door was great, but this is the next level. So yeah, it's very good for me, man. Listen, I went like 12 or 13 years without missing one fight. I'm too fucking old and too tired to fly all over the place, man. I can't do it. So, and now we're doing 42 events. It's just, I'm not John Morgan. I can't do it.
Sir, it looks like the Snoopcast won't be coming back to Contender Series. Is that safe to say?
I wouldn't say we wouldn't, but it's not this season.
Would you ever consider doing something similar with a different celebrity?
Yeah. I just think that we were trying this thing out. So Snoop and I have been friends for a long time, okay? And Snoop always wanted to get involved and do something. So I was always like, we were at a party one night in LA at Ari's house, and he was, he's like, come on, DW, or whatever he calls me. I don't even know what D-Wizzle or whatever the fuck he calls me. And he's like, let's do this. I want to do this and everything else. So at the time, I was coming up with the concept for the Contender series. So I told Craig, I said, I want to do something with Snoop in this show. So we ended up coming up with the whole, him upstairs and doing it. Because Snoop always wanted to be involved and wanted to call fights and wanted to do something. So we did it.
Did you ever see the videos?
Snoop isn't cheap.
Yeah, I figured.
Snoop's expensive.
Yeah. Did you ever see the videos he did before he worked with UFC, where he would just commentate fights that he was watching from home, and
yeah,
kind of went viral?
Well, one of the things that helped us come up with the concept of that was when he would do the stuff with Jimmy Kimmel. Like they would show him animals, and he would talk about the animals and things like that. Do you know what the name of it?
I don't.
Planet Snoop or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Like, if you haven't seen the Planet Snoop stuff or whatever it's called from Jimmy Kimmel, it's hilarious. So it's really good. So that was kind of where we came up with the concept for him to do that up there.
Hey Dana, I saw all the jerseys lying in the hallway, but that was one part about the Top Chance that was so cool, right? I mean, all the history. Did you try to implement some of that here? Like, is there things that we should keep an eye out for, like history that you put in this building?
Well, yeah, I mean, those are over there, and then the international ones are inside here, and that is a building where we did the first ever Tough, and if you look at all the world champions and stars that were built on that show, and then the first 2 seasons of the Contender were over there. Now this is going to be the new place. Over the next 10 years, who's going to be built here?